Hey everyone, welcome back to the DJ Sessions presents the virtual sessions. I always got to compliment Restream on that choice of intro music there that they give us because it just always makes me feel like I'm in church. Today I'm sitting here in the virtual studios with the guys coming in from Toronto, Canada, the Brothers, or is it just Brothers?
Just Brothers, but whatever you.
Well, awesome, guys. The three of you have sort of a very long musical history together. I was looking at doing some research on you guys, before the show. Came across a few of your album covers, track covers, and when did you actually pick up your first musical instruments and start playing together?
We're pretty. We're in real life, so we all went through, like, we started when we were 5, but we actually started the band when I think we were 13 when we got the drum set, and no one knew how to play it, but we bought one anyways, and then basically I could do the first drum roll. That's how it went down.
Was that the band? Was that the drum kit that started the band Smashers, or was that previously?
Earlier. That was like when we had cardboard instruments that we made and Beach Boys and
Yeah,
we lip sync. Yeah. So that was like prior to the.
I was like too young to play, but no, that would have been the alternative rock band that we did for about 20 years.
And by the way, going left to right or right to left, I'm not sure if your camera is reversed over there. Let's go down your first names. And obviously the last name is going to be the same, but let's go left to right. And what instruments do you play?
Camera or now I'm confused.
Well, yeah, I always get it backwards too. I'd point this way because you're on that side, but really you're on this side.
Okay.
And what do you play?
I play drums. Oh, I
thought he said
drums and backing vocals.
Yeah, I don't. And I play keyboards and synthesizers and I'm Aaron, and I'm lead vocal and guitar.
And did you grow up in a musical family, or was this something the three of you just kind of picked up and kind of ran with it at a young age, or were your parents, or was there any? What was your early on influences to be in the music industry?
We grew up where our parents put us at piano at a very young age. They always encouraged us to write our own songs. So that was one of the exercises. Here in piano lessons, we had to write one song. And they're huge music fans. We grew up listening to the Beatles and Wilburys and But to answer the question, Dad got kicked out of the school choir when he was a kid. So literally, like learning how to sing and all that and play. We kind of took it on ourselves, but we had the background.
But we one day just decided we should make a band and try to do and then we ended up in the garage like most bands do.
Was that because your parents wouldn't let you play in the house? They kicked you out to the garage, or you just needed the space of being in the garage?
It lasted one day.
I think we're
out in the garage.
I think we're in their office or something, and we set up, and it didn't last long.
You said that was about 20 years ago, correct?
Yeah, roughly.
And if you could describe your music that you've been making over the last 20 years, in 3 words, how would you describe that?
3 words.
Do you want to each do?
Yeah, each do a word.
I would say anthem. Right? You got a word?
I was going to do it's.
I think wall of sound.
Yeah. I mean, we try to do. I don't know, epic. Yeah, that's pretty.
But then we got into this stuff. It's more obviously EDM based of our rock roots, and we just try to create a live sound in the clubs. So that's kind of what we're doing now.
Who was your biggest influence growing up, and who would be somebody that influences you now?
Well, I mean, you too, and we ended up playing on stage with them a while back. Dream come true, but we were influenced by a lot of British music. And
Bowie is a big one.
Bowie, yeah.
Bowie, yeah.
But Bob Dylan to Pet Shop Boys to, I mean, like we're influenced by so much great music that's out there.
If it's a good song, really, it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
it's a good song.
We're drawn to good songwriting, and we try to do.
I was reading in your bio that you have been nominated for 8. You were on 8 shortlists for Grammys. Is that correct?
A few albums that we had some songs that were shortlisted, yeah, for some Grammys, which was cool. And yeah, I mean, it would be amazing to. I mean, awards aren't always the most important thing, so be shortlisted for sure.
Have you won any awards?
I don't know. Have we? I don't think shortlist. Sorry to say.
And when you're producing music, you mentioned that now you kind of do an EDM. It was, a lot of influence I could see is band, rock. You mentioned, your keywords there. Do you try to incorporate other styles of dance music in your productions? Is that the new thing that we can expect from the Brothers, or is that something you've always had or took on in just the last few years?
In the last few years of when we're doing the menu stuff, we got into electronic drums. Really, the Brothers stuff came from, we were in Europe for a while and doing some shows there, and we actually were with Bono in a club. We were talking about how the energy in the clubs, and if you could take, he was saying, like, if you could take that and take the rhyme together and try to create something live like that. I mean, that could be the future of genre and keeping rock alive. And we just kind of we came back into the studio and started adding more of an to our stuff, and that's kind of where this band kind of came out of that.
Do you feel that EDM or electronic music has become the new rock and roll?
I think it definitely has potential to be going down that. Rock and roll will always still be rock and roll. There's so many different facets to rock and roll. What we're doing is something different than, I mean, there's so many different genres within rock and roll almost.
I think more and more electronic music, so their sounds, but yeah, I mean, EDM has that energy. When you play it live, there's stuff that, I mean, you don't get maybe as we stuff, but yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, and listening to electronic music for the past 30 plus years. When I was a kid growing up, there was techno music is pretty much what it's called. It was not even called electronic music was there, but it wasn't really there. There was house music and there was techno music. And now when I send my DJs to Wikipedia to say, choose these genres to define what genres of music you'll play, and you see not only there's 30 different genres, there's like 20 different subgenres for each of those genres now in electronic music in itself, which is very interesting to see that grow. So definitely see the parallelism to rock and roll having so many different genres and electronic music also having genres, and where you're kind of bridging the gap between both genres. When you go out to make, go ahead.
Oh, anyways.
It's blurring the lines between EDM and really.
And you're getting ready to release a record this summer. When you go out, is one of your intentions, or is it the intention to make the music solely to satisfy yourself and success is a nice side effect, or are you trying to just make it a popular record and get it out there? What's your take on that?
I think if you try to appeal to everyone and try to make a hit song, I think it just comes out contrived. Maybe
you're forcing
it's forced. Yes. So I think true to yourself and hope that people will connect with what you're doing, and that's kind of what we do. We are really trying to, and hopefully have people latch on to what we're doing and get success from that.
After that conversation with Bono, and we came back to sing around with some stuff, if it didn't work, we wouldn't, but we actually liked what it sounded like and the potential of Go. So we kept going with it.
I think that's like the first line of defense. We're willing to release it, then we think there's something there that may.
And what record label are you releasing that with?
We're independent, so we've had a few. We've always tried to keep our publishing and our music owned by a big thing for us, and we have our own label that we release our stuff under.
Awesome. Have you looked into doing anything in the NFT realm at all?
Yeah, I know, and it's. I don't know. I don't know if it skipped us as a generation. We would. I don't know if I get it, but we would love to try it and all kinds of things for sure. But yeah, NFTs is a new thing for us for sure. We haven't done.
I definitely think it's a new thing for a lot of artists out there, but it is it was the buzzword 6 months ago. It's still on the tips of some tongues. Some of the bad press that it's got over the last 4 or 5 months, or the hype isn't there, and especially with the crypto market kind of being down from what it was last year and the year before. It might not be such a viable thing, but artists being able to kind of still retain some type of residual payout on their music after it sells once, and then it can sell again and sell again and sell again, might have some appeal to artists. And I was talking with somebody yesterday, and they mentioned something called super contracts. I think that's the term they use. Have you ever heard of that term?
No, I haven't heard.
Apparently it's a contract that it grants rights to be used in certain ways as opposed to a traditional contract where you would sell it off to a label or a publishing house. you would still kind of retain some of these rights, and it's going to be interesting how these super contracts come into play. This person I was talking to, oh, come on, Darren, think of his name. You just interviewed him yesterday. Very well-known DJ, MJ Cole. And he was talking about super contracts. And that was a little bit above my pay grade. Like, I'm like, whoa, what are you talking about here? But he's been in the industry for about 30 years and has produced for some top names and has been around. So I want to start looking into super contracts. I don't know if that's something of a buzzword that you've heard or have been looking into as well.
I mean, we're just be the artist. So when it comes to the contract stuff, we probably leave that to our.
Yeah. Do you all have any bad habits that are beneficial to your career?
Interesting. Trying. That's like a cop out of a question. Bad habits. I mean, you're always doing stuff that bugs each other. I mean, it doesn't necessarily benefit us.
But nothing benefits. I feel like you guys always think I have all the bad habits, but it's not benefiting the band.
I mean, we do have, like, despite the, I don't know, cheesiness of it, we do have a strong work ethic that we've also, I mean, we will, like, thing we do. So when we're doing the music or anything, it's full out. I mean, some might consider that a bad habit, but I mean, it is beneficial.
Out of the three of you, who is the practical joker?
Probably Ryan, yeah. I mean, I don't know practical jokes,
Yeah.
but he does to push the limits with his jokes for sure, and kind of he's out for sure.
And I did see that it was when was it that you played the Cannes Film Festival? What year was that?
We did it a couple times, so I guess it was
Okay.
a couple of years. Yeah,
2019.
yeah.
Okay. And was that the longest flight you ever had taken to actually perform a gig or do a gig, or were you already living over there in Europe when that happened?
There were a couple shows we went there for, and that was
Yeah, I mean, we did a lot of touring in North America, so I mean, to do stuff in Europe was a new thing. Yeah, I mean, we had less gear. Like when we used to do the menu, we had so much gear. We had
with a piano.
drums.
We traveled with a
Yeah,
piano.
there was so much gear, but doing the EDM stuff in Europe and stuff could be acquired there, where we didn't have to bring it overseas. Some of the stuff's very, very expensive, so we had to bring it with us, but it was a lot easier to travel and tour for that tour.
And I noticed from your music videos, there is a kind of a theme going on with those lights that are set up. What is the meaning or what is what's the aesthetic? What's the appeal of the lights that are there flashing? I saw them on the beach and the walls video. I saw them in another video that you did. Is that something that travels with you on tour?
Yeah.
Is that part of your stage setup? Your studio, your setup?
Yeah, we've had different stage lights built ourselves, and like in the past, and we still use them. We just find that it adds such an element of energy to our shows, and
It even helps us.
it helps us
stage.
feel energized when we're.
Yeah, it's a big part of our show to definitely have different rigs of lights that we
Just to see what's going on, because sometimes it's pretty dark up there.
Is that are they MIDI mapped? Are they sound activated? Or are they just randomly timed? Or do they go along with each song, or how does that setup work actually?
A bit of both. So yeah, it can be time to be a bit random through choruses or verses, but yeah, there's like a
Sometimes they're manually controlled as well for certain effects.
Yeah, we'll cater them to the songs for sure.
Awesome. Was the biggest crowd you ever played for your best crowd?
I wouldn't know. We played to some of our big crowds would be like for a festival or something, and it's not necessarily the best crowds could be. I mean, a small place that the energy is just rare. Parts of the U.S. that we played that you think it's going to be, but then it turns out to be one of the best shows, and the energy just makes it that way.
And if you could host your own event without any limitations, name 5 things that you would have at that event.
Yeah, that would be a good one. People.
Fireworks.
Pyro, yeah. 5 things, eh?
Fireworks.
Lighting. Lighting's got to be a really good light show. We always did a smoke because that makes the lights look better. So I would say you got to have that. Sound, I mean, number 1 is the sound system. I mean, you got to have
one is like tequila or something. What kind of event is this? Is it a coffee?
And it's no fun. Yeah.
What's the nicest thing that a fan has ever said to you?
I mean, I think that
There's a lot of comments.
I think one of the nicest things is that we sound like the record. So like, strive to sound like the records that we put out, and make sure that off live every time. So I think when somebody says like you did your job and you kind of made it to what you want. So.
Have you ever had a fan present you with a gift, and what was, if they did, what was the most memorable gift that a fan has ever given to you?
We had a fan that used to follow us around, remember?
Yeah. And she was or New York, somewhere in New York, state, and we were playing, and she came and brought us buffalo wings, right from like the
whatever. Yeah, that was pretty memorable because I mean, it's not every day someone across the border or whatever. So.
Now, did they have the dipping sauces, or was it a request? Was it like a social media request, or how did she know you wanted buffalo wings?
I don't know. She just like, we needed food, I guess.
we played many shows in Buffalo that she followed us around in the U.S. a bit. But we must have mentioned that with the Anchor Bar wings. So they were dressed up, obviously hot and all that. But yeah, it was just a really nice thing to do.
What's been the best decision that each of you have made in favor of your artist career?
Buying a guitar, that was the best decision I made.
as opposed
I
to
would
using
say,
the cardboard one.
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, it was a logical transition. What do you got? You got something?
Best decision is not practice me playing the drums, switching second practice to the keyboards. That was everybody.
Yeah,
So,
Ryan always wanted to play drums, but he ended up not.
cardboard drums for years, and then I switched first. I didn't care for it so much. I missed the cardboard stuff because Nate is more of a drummer, just even physically.
Maybe I went to the role. I don't know. But I would say maybe working with some. We always strive to work with producers that we admit them to work with us, even when we couldn't afford to pay them. They still worked with us because they liked our music, and I think learning from them how to do great production and sort of songwriting, and I think that was really how we wrote songs and how we create music and try to create good music.
Do you think that any of you would ever stop making music in favor of another art form?
No.
No, I mean, we're creative in other ways. Like we do visual arts and design and stuff, but music's always been like
Music is number one.
yeah, to what we do for sure.
And if Hollywood were to make a movie about your lives, who would each of you pick to be the main actor?
I knew you were going to say
That's a good question.
Who's your? I don't.
I was honestly gonna say Brad Pitt too.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, whoever's willing to, I'll be fine with it.
Awesome. Well, guys, you have the new single. It was just released. Was that May 20th?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That came out, The Walls, on May 20th. You have your self-titled album coming out, Brothers. Has there been an anticipated release date announced for that yet?
It's going to be in August, so just keep posted to our social stuff, and yeah, it's definitely going to be August with
Awesome.
tour. So.
And is there anything else you want to let our DJ Sessions fans know about before we let you get back to work there in the studio?
Just you mean like advice, or are you looking for?
Oh, just anything you want to let them know, whether it's a piece of advice, whether you want let something up and coming producers should look out for, anything musically wise, artistically wise, any announcements?
I mean, obviously the album, and I mean, I think as far as advice goes, just always stay true to your own, like, what you believe in, and we always say practice till you are.
Awesome.
So you know, inside and backwards.
And where can people find out more information? Yeah, and where can people find out more information about you and what you got going on?
Our social media is at Brothers Official Music, brothersofficialmusic.com. So easy to remember.
Awesome. Got the website right down there. brothersofficialmusic.com. Awesome, guys. Well, thank you so much for coming on the DJ Sessions. It was a pleasure having you here today.
Thank you.
Yeah, we'll definitely follow back up with you in a few months here just to see how things are going and touch base with you.
Sounds good.
Perfect.
Awesome. Well, that's the brothers coming in from Toronto, Canada. I'm your host, Darren, coming to you live for the virtual sessions by the DJ Sessions in Seattle, Washington. And remember, don't forget to go to our website, thedjsessions.com. Find us on TikTok, Instagram, Meta, Twitter. We're out there, but go to our website. That's where you're going to find out all our news, all our events, our exclusive mixes, and interviews just like this one right here at thedjsessions.com. And remember, on the DJ Sessions, the music never stops.